It's an antacid, pure, simple, and if you study and look at cholesterol in the body and where it's used in the adrenal steroids and in phospholipids in cell walls and in lymph fluids, you start to understand the big issue here that we face here. Let's see here. Studies show rabbits with cholesterol diets, they develop this plaque on given. Oh crap! Yeah, there's so much of this crap out there. Humans have a substantially larger liver and gallbladder and other to digest higher fat content of animal foods. There's no way the Homo sapien is an animal food eater. In my book, I've got a big chapter dedicated to that. I think you can go back, and sometime I will sit here and give you a book list that you can go back to medical doctors that I really respect back in the later 1800s, early 1900s. A whole bunch of us have tore this subject apart for the past 100 years. There's no way the Homo sapien is a meat eater in any way, shape, or form, and no way does it make him healthy. Has the opposite effect. When humans eat protein, it has the opposite effect than health. And the evidence of that is when you get off of it, you rebuild. And the evidence also shows in all these studies that the higher the protein, the more damage to the kidneys and GI tract. Number one, studies done for years related to high protein diets to colon cancer. Last year was a 30-year study. This guy just wants to be a meat eater. He wants to try to back this up and somehow to think he's a meat eater. Well, if you want to eat meat, okay, I don't care, but eat it raw. Because if you're a meat eater, you're going to eat it raw. If you're a true meat eater, what's going to sound too good to you is when you see a cow in the field, all your thoughts are you're going to go get that thing, rip its skin off, I don't know how, and then start eating it. That's a meat eater. A true meat eater is one that looks at animals as food all the time. And there are probably some real low thinkers like that. You know, that's all I got to say with that one. That's nasty. So I disagree with this guy totally. I've heard some of these kind of arguments before. They don't hold no water at all. Half the stuff they say are not even true. So forgive me, but this comes about all the time. And I'll get some more books, sweetheart. I will. I'll spend some time and get some books. This is another lady that wrote me about books and stuff, and I'll take care of that. This is another one that asked me about cold water and acids on the hair and stuff like that. I think so too, you know. This is called hot and cold applications to the skin and scalp and stuff really move and massage that lymph system really good for yourself. So I think it was a good thing too. But again, it shows you that your lymph system was backed up and down here. You kind of confirm this with all my sinus problems and dry eyes are gone. Now, that's good. That means you're moving lymph. So get deeper in there, keep moving lymph. That drying of the eyes, of course, that's acid that dries your fluids up. So yeah, you're doing really, really good, sweetheart. You're from Chile. Good work. Keep going. Dig deep into that body and clean yourself up. This is a question about Crohn's. Remember how we talk about the problems are in the lymph system, and the lymph system is in the wall. Wherever there's cells, there's blood and lymph. So think of in the wall. So Crohn's is a burn almost from wall to wall in the GI tract, you know. Think of it as advanced IBS if you want to. But I can also tell you that I had a Fox broadcaster's wife, but she couldn't poop with heavy Crohn's, you know, and you wouldn't believe the level of bowel formulas I had her on, so she could even have a bowel movement. It wasn't even funny. I had her like on 15 of my number 5s 2 or 3 times a day, and then I used Schultz's a little bit because real strong laxative, you know, and to move. But I did finally get her and back again. And that's the thing. This is about the lymph system in the wall, and this is a very serious problem. These things like Crohn's, IBSs, and this. I want to link this to this question about this lady's gallbladder. She had her gallbladder removed, and what's she going to do now? Well, again, go back to why the gallbladder. Go back to why you lose tissue, and we're going to go back to there's only 2 sides of chemistry. So which side of chemistry are you going to go on when you start losing tissue? Yeah, you're going to go on the acid side, obviously. And you know what deals with the acid side isn't the blood, so it wasn't a blood problem you had, it was a lymphatic problem. But when you see your lymph system backed up in the liver, it's probably backed up in its brother, the pancreas, and in the wall of the GI tract, small and large, and in the esophagus, and it starts backing up all through you. And this is where a lot of times you don't feel it. You need a little stricture in swallowing, and a little ulceration, I mean, these things start creeping up, and these are acid burns to tissue. A lot of these things are from the inside of the wall out. That's the seriousness of this. That's why move your lymph with Crohn's and everything else. Move your lymph. Get your adrenal glands up. Steroids are really a good thing to have if they're produced by your adrenal glands. And so get those adrenal glands up. Get those kidneys filtering there and work on that. Get that lymph moving. We got nice bowel formulas for that. Help you in every way from moving to cooling. But we also want to draw and pull through the bowel wall. We want to get into that lymph system, into the body, and get those kidneys filtering that. Again, an adrenal gland issue, working on the adrenals. But getting in that focus, and you'll fix that right up. Yeah, it's a nephew of yours, right? Yeah, okay. Cellulite catastrophe. Yeah, how shall I say it? Lymphs. I know you guys probably think I'm a wacko, but I'll tell you, if you keep it simple, you guys will always come back to the reality of the problem, and then you realize that all our time, all these years people spend suffering could have been alleviated very simplistically had we went back to a man's typical diet that suited for him. But again, the facts are, and I concur with this, that the facts are man is living in environments outside of his native land, which, remember, all of us are tropical species. And when we're living in northern climates, the vibration of that climate pulls us into different thinking and foods. So quite difficult. But we have clients everywhere. I mean, everywhere, especially in the States, of course, but everywhere. And I tell you, when they do the fruit thing, they get success no matter where they are. And how does that tell you? And you don't get that success on all those vegetables. What does that tell you? And you get no success eating dead animals. So I don't know, I don't know what that tells you. Yes, I do. Let's see, Angel Light. Ooh, I love that name. Now, that's a good name. She's 45. I got my doctor's result today. My blood work is excellent. Doing good. I got a fibroid. I got an ovarian cyst type thing. A stone on my gallbladder. The gallbladder is chronically inflamed. Okay, so again, why does these things happen? Again, this is all your lymph system, sweetheart. It's backed up in the uterus. It's backed up in the ovaries. But when the lymph system gets backed up, it pretty much is backed up head to toe. Certain areas probably, and of course, Jensen always felt the weakest areas got it first, and boy, I concur. The weaker cells are going first, that's for sure. This is why you see problems in different places, even though you're systemically, meaning head to toe backed up, you see different places first going down, and that's where you're the weakest, let's say, genetically in the cells. You're going to have trouble with those areas first, that's for sure. So we'll keep working on your lymph system. You have dandelion, excellent backyard. Suck it down, honey. That is really good, dandelion. Like I said, your blood work's perfect, but your lymph system isn't. That's what I'm saying. We look at the blood work, but that's a look into the blood. We got a system at least twice as big called the lymph system, and there's no report for that one. But all your symptoms here are a great report for that one. Symptomology is a great report for the lymph system. So real important that you fix this up here and get yourself straightened around there. Here is, this person was a little confused about the cabbage, broccoli, garlic, and stuff. Have a lot of sulfur. When I got up into the levels of fruitarianism, boy, I couldn't handle. I liked onions, and I've always liked onions, a nice flavor to them, but I couldn't eat them anymore. And I'm an old farm boy, so we never had garlic, to tell you the truth. I can't stand garlic. But that's just the way I was raised. I wasn't raised around garlic. Other people just have a lot of garlic. I have nothing negative, but it is a sulfur. So is the onions. They have sulfur in them. I'll say this: if you have a lot of gas problems and you're suffering with a lot of candida, and be real careful, especially if you're R.A. Dan and all these people, you definitely want to stay away from sulfur foods, in my opinion. I don't find them healthy. I remember when the cruciferous was the thing for cancer, and it's like, why? You know, we have this fetish with sulfur. And again, I saw another commercial last night for a makeup, and it says, all the harsh sulfurs away. I love that. Finally, some people are waking up to the reality of sulfurs aren't good for us. Sulfur compounds, sorry. And I don't know where we got, only thing I can say, it came out of the medical consciousness of sulfur type antibiotics, you know, sulfa drugs and things. I don't know where this came. Of course, they used to use sulfur compounds on wounds and things, but nasty, gnarly. I can't even stand the smell of sulfur in these sulfur springs we have here in Florida. So I don't know what to tell you. You can eat garlic and all that. It's no problem. I don't have any problem with any of these foods, but these foods have a problem with a lot of people. So just be aware of that. You know, nothing, no big deal. The water full of love. What have we got here, my friend? Understanding that most plaque in the body is made up of calcium and fats. Yes, sir. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. Yeah, here's a question from an individual. I have a question about calcium deposits on the thyroid. What causes them? Well, let's go back the water full of love here. You've got two sides of chemistry, right? If you find a third, you're going to win a Nobel Peace Prize, probably. So you got two sides of chemistry. We know that the acid side is the corrosive side in chemistry. It is the aggressive side, the inflammatory side. We know that that side is needed in life, but it is always on the lower end of the scale because it's generally the byproduct of so much chemical reactions that the body has to have a way to keep itself neutralized from acids or damage occurs. One way or another, acids is generally the culprit of cellular damage. Very rarely is alkalized. Hard to get the body extremely alkaline, contrary to some of these biochemists. So when you're looking at that, the body has to defend itself against acids. And the only way to defend itself against an acid is with the other side of chemistry, because there's only two sides to chemistry. So obviously calcium is the one side of chemistry that's the most abundant in the human body. It is everywhere in the human body. It can be grabbed and utilized everywhere. But in an acid environment, when it hits phosphorus, think of bone matrix. So this is where you see the calcifications, and that tells you you've got your lymph system backed up in your thyroid, and your body's trying to fight that. Your lymph system deals with the acids, remember? And so that lymph system of yours, your body's trying to fight those acids so it doesn't damage your thyroid. But you can see calcifications in the heart, you can see it in the lungs, you can see it in the breast tissue, you can see it everywhere, in the kidneys. Oh, those hurt. But, you're going to see these calcifications, and also, like water full of love said, cholesterol too. And then you're going to see a goiter here. So these are some of the things that you want to stop, because the breakdown of tissue will happen. And then, of course, it also will withdraw or block blood flow to these tissues. You can have like ischemic type problems, mean a restricted blood flow to any cell, not just cardiac cells, but any cell in the body. You can lose those cells from restricted blood flows and stuff. So like an infarction of the thyroid gland. So, yeah, that just tells you, my friend, that you've got to back down, get your lymph system moving pretty good here. Here's one, she's 100% raw for 5 weeks now, but her bowels aren't fully healthy yet. Irritable bowel syndrome. Yeah, you just keep working on that. Remember, inside out, inside out. Easy to clean the bowel wall off with the stomach and bowel formulas we have. That's why I made them. I didn't make them as laxatives. I made them as healers and restoratives. This thing of purging and stimulating, that's not health, and it isn't going to work. It's going to, actually, anytime you stimulate, you innervate. You got to realize that if you jump on the real positive side, the negative side's going to come up and slap you too. It's that Buddha middle way, so to speak. I think I really like that thinking in terms of balance. Hard to have balance when you're going after things, of course, and not important, I guess. I mean, everybody learns it one way or another. Cleanse good enough, but for my kidneys, as I've always was addicted to salt. Again, you're addicted to salt, and salt addiction is the adrenal glands. So it tells you right now, of course, you've got your adrenals are down, the kidneys aren't filtering because of that. Now you see that reflexed in your colon. You're seeing that lymph system backing up in the colon there, and it's probably backed up all through you, dependent upon. Now she pees a lot, or he.